Hey everybody, it's your best friend Drew Geraci, longtime comic book industry veteran, lifelong fanboy, and I got some comics from my spinner rack and comics recently purchased that will find a happy home in my spinner rack. So, let's get to it. The Shield and the Web, Mighty Comics presents. The Shield was a patriotic hero who came out at least half a year or more before Captain America did, but for some reason Captain America took off more so, and the Shield kind of got left behind. He was always considered like a second-rate Captain America, which makes no sense. But anyway, he and some other characters later on got revived during the Silver Age when Marvel was doing really well. So Mighty Comics Presents, which is a division of Archie Comics, they decided, well, we'll make our books kind of look like Marvel as close as we can. So it has sort of that feel to it. And by Dick, Vic, Bob, and Paul. Now, the only one I looked up I could find online was Paul Rainman, who he drew a lot of those suspense stories in Strange Tales and other books. And I'm not sure who Dick is. I kind of feel like it's Dick Ayers, but I think he was doing Sergeant Fury at the time, because some of it has his awkwardness to it. The Stunner, Mr. Scare, the Web versus the Viper's villains. Where's that vituperative? Maybe that's right. Storm King, baby. But the only one who gets credit online is Paul Rainman. So, this guy's friendly, nice inks. I love that. He looks friendly. He acts friendly. Gotta think positively, not think he's a bad guy. But in short order, the next panel, he's like the Storm King. A little bit of a mishap there with the, I don't know if that's ink or if it's a pen or something. Somebody just added. But anyway, it doesn't matter. There's always printing faults with DC and Marvel. Well, mostly Marvel. DC had the best printing. So I'm guessing this is Paul Raymond. It has a lot of his feel to it. It's so weird, but I did enjoy it. And there we get the Black Hood. I don't know who did this, but I really like it. The first panel, the musculature on Black Hood. And the inking is what eludes me. I mean, maybe Paul Raymond inked some of his own stuff, but I love this. The Web, Mighty Comics henpecked hero fights Mr. Scare to the finish. Now, I've heard of things like with Spider-Man, like, most, I don't know, like sad sack hero or something, but henpecked just sounds wrong. It makes him sound ineffectual. Doing a little bit of a Will Eisner thing on the logo at the top. And this is really good art, but I'm trying to figure out who's inking it. It almost looks like Frank Giacoya, or it could be Joe Giunta. Not sure. So his wife is, henpecking, as the old term was called. But she didn't want him to be out as a superhero. And she makes dinner, plops on it. I mean, she's just like this horrible, made out to be this horrible harpy. And, but we find out what's ridiculous is she's trying to be a superhero too. And so we get that one panel montage that everybody does in comics, and she's all ready to fight. So he heads out, and she becomes Powell Girl. I like that. Kind of a prelude to Hit Girl, which Mark Millar would do. I know it's Mark Miller, but it's got the AR at the end. So, life-size pinup of David McFarlane. So anyway, yes, you fight like a tigress. What a sweet thing! What a sweet thing to say. And she tests his fidelity. How about a kiss? You say a kiss? No, I'm a loner and not a playboy. So they get along at the end. But it's fun. It's fun. It's actually almost more of a DC comic in the way the story's told. Then we go into Marvel. Okay, baby. This Butch Geist, R.I.P. He did Doctor Strange, the second volume of Doctor Strange that started in 1990. He did it for about a year with Roy Thomas, and then he moved over to Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was great. And And what's funny is they were both Nick Fury and Doctor Strange shared a book, Strange Tales. So he's Jackson Geist still at the time. He goes back to Butch later on. And I love the colors on this. Love it. And also the price tag's a little higher because it's on Mando paper. It's a better quality paper than regular newsprint. And it's funny because the books that don't sell that well, they jack the prices up on those. And I guess they figure they have like uh, a secret fandom for. That's not the word. I'm trying to think of what it is. It's maybe small and but passionate fan readership or whatever. The same thing happened with Swamp Thing after when Rick Veitch took over after Alan Moore, and so he got written by D.G. Drew Tracy, Chichester, Jackson Geist, Doug Hazelwood, great anchor. I love these layouts, and I think they make a good combo. Mm-hmm. What's so funny is like this calls to mind Paul Gulacy's version of Steranko. It's kind of weird, and also like a Bruce Lee. So he's working out, and that's his girlfriend. What's her name again? I can't remember her name, but Katie. There's Wolverine, Patch. That is like, I'm sorry, but that's the dumbest thing ever. I mean, to look as, let's just say it, freakish as he chooses to wear his hair, and put an eye patch on him. Yeah, really? You're not going to pick him out of a crowd? Listen to me ranting. Like a madman. So that's pretty cool there. So you get Hydra and Baron Zocca back. Really cool stuff. I'd love to see this collected. They started off this Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. with the initial run. Like, they did like one volume that collected the first 8 issues. But I'd like to see the whole series as an epic collection because it's not like the greatest thing. Like what happens is there's story arcs that have different writers and artists, and it varies. I happen to like this one a lot, this combo a lot, and I'd like to see it in an epic collection because it'd be a lot cheaper, Or I could just keep finding these in the dollar bin at my local shop. That's a great image there. So, anyway, now we go to Darkstar. One thing though, terrible logo. Outline that thing. It's a chore to read. And when I first saw this, I thought it was like a fan magazine because that really doesn't look professional. And I'm just being ugly because you have line work everywhere else, and when you see the inside, it's like George Perez and Phil Jimenez threw up. But I'm saying that in the nicest way possible, okay? Because like so much of it is covered with ink. However, this artist Scott Franz, he's damn good. He's damn good. I love the use of Zipatone, black and white comics as an anchor who dabbles mostly in black and white graphic style. I approve. Really nice stuff, and it is action packed. This is, for instance, the greatest battle of all time, and this is the kind of stuff you would see like in an anniversary issue, like Defenders number 50, where they fight the second version of Zodiac. That's one of the best issues ever, especially when you're a kid. My only hang up is there are points here where it's hard to the planes need to be separated a little bit. It's hard to, like, you have to study it, and you should not be forced to find out what you're looking at. So, but a lot of panels are great. You dare judge me. I love the armor. Love the inking is phenomenal. That's great. That is great. Like I said, there needs to be a little more separation. And maybe like there's a page or two where they use the thick borders, and I think I think that would be ideal because it is a bit. See, like right here, you know, I looked at it again last night, the second time, and I kind of studied it. So really cool stuff. And it's a shame it didn't last. Wow. But the logo, it's just impossible to. It's an effort to read, and it's a shame. It's a real shame. So, Immortal Dr. Fate. I covered this book in one of my episodes on my other channel, where talking about the 3D comics that you do not know that you actually own. This is a 1984 reprint from DC of a backup series of Dr. Fate from the issues of The Flash by Martin Pascoe and Keith Giffen. You know, when he was getting his groove on doing the Legion of Superheroes and all this stuff, and with a new cover by Giffen. Oh, the back cover's great too. Whoop, hang on. Man, so much coolness going on. 4-part saga. It's because each story is like 8 pages long. So I wonder if Larry Malstead's inking him. I can't recall. Yep, Larry Malstead, the Legion of Superhero team, except Martin Pascoe is the writer. Martin Pascoe had been around a long time, and it's strictly a DC writer. So really nice stuff going on here. But what's weird is there's this tower with no windows or doors that both Dr. Fate's secret identity or other identity and his wife Inza are stuck in there, and she's like, you know, she's tormented because he leaves her all alone. And you know, it's like she does actually get out. Actually, I shouldn't say there's no windows or doors. I think they actually like talked about it in a sense of poetry, I guess. So really fun stuff, terrific stuff. Now look at that, woo wee, man. Now when I mentioned different like possible 3D effects, I'm talking about how like this pink here, it would pop out if you put on your 3D glasses. With these color holds like that. I mean, that's a nice little Neil Adams effect. But that there, oh my gosh, that's so great. So that's a color hold where they do, instead of inking on the same piece of paper as the regular line art, it's an overlap, and they a acetate overlap that goes over there and prints on a separate color. Great stuff. See, oh, there you go. There's the Flash. Yeah. Lastly, but not leastly, I bought this at Dave's Comics in the $2 bin. It's a beautiful shape. I'm not much into like worrying about shape, but Alpha Flight issue 63. So it's been around 5 years. You know, almost 3 of them were without John Byrne, and I really thought this book was going to end when he left, because you don't know. It lasted 133 issues, and it went through the 90s. Had a long, long run. And look at this cover. Wow. The blue and the, I don't know what you would call this, yellow ochre, really grabbed my eye. And then Box, who is just a fantastic character that Byrne created. It's a person who phases into this robot called Box, who's created by a guy named Roger Box, B-O-C-H. Let's get right to it. Okay, one second. Box, B-O-C-H-S. And what happened is, this guy who controls metal, he took over Persona, a box he could zip into it, and later on we find he could be like a transformer. Now this guy, love that line work. He's saying, I'm a real supervillain, because he put a virus into a bunch of banks, like their bank accounts online. And this is, you know, this is what, 87, 88? And James Hudnall, who took over from Bill Mantlo, October '88, he was really thinking ahead about the internet. Because really, most of us didn't have access. It wasn't common access till over a decade later. So, and there's box. So, and Jeffries, what's his name again? Something Jeffries. He and Heather, I can't think of her last name. She was the widow of Guardian, Heather McDonald, and so she pairs up with this guy who can manipulate metal, and he took over the box persona like that. Phase-in. So she's gotten over, but I mean, it's been years since he died. It wasn't like she just, you know. And this is part of the virus that's corrupting box. But that guy with the cap on set up. Really great art. Nice coloring. I can tell everything going on. Man, how that is so imaginative. This is Hugh Hayes. Haynes doing the artwork. He did a couple issues of Nexus at Dark Horse Comics for a while. And Mike Gustovich, who's ubiquitous, he's a lot of places, and Don Hudson inks. It does take 2 inkers to this book because it's so detailed. It's so crazy. Like this right here. That's just super crazy. I've inked stuff like that with a lot of pencilers, and it takes a lot of time. And I had an assistant for a while who would help me do those kind of backgrounds for about 2 years, and it helped. Definitely helped. Smash. Really amazing stuff. Adios, you sorry son of a... I like the lettering, too. How did you get on base and into that bunker without any robot or any of my men seeing you? Hey, I'm a superhero. And so anyway, great stuff. Okay, tell me your thoughts on Alpha Flight. Did you buy the new omnibus that says Bill Mantlo and Jim Lee, even though that's slightly misleading because Jim Lee doesn't come on until several years into the book? But and if you like Alpha Flight, what you think? Are you thinking of buying back issues now that you've seen this? And are you a Dr. Fate fan or Keith Giffen fan? Either way, it's great. What's your opinion about this book? I think it's cool. The logo, you can't say ask for it by name because it is practically illegible. I have to really work at it. And it sounds so petty and so small, but you gotta put your best foot forward if you're an indie publisher. So do you remember this era of that Jackson / Bush guys did on S.H.I.E.L.D. with DG Chichester? I think I say his name. And are you fond of these comics and the MLJ revival of 1983? I think it was, spearheaded by Rich Buckler. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll be seeing you soon again. And everybody have a great day.